week on the Ak & Barak show, Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn was still perplexed as to why Ryan Garcia, the mandatory for Devin Haney's WBC lightweight title, did not take the fight following his victory over Luke Campbell and felt the media was giving Garcia a free pass. Hearn also stated, using the argument of small crowds, was a cop-out, and that if both fighters get past their next fights, we really need to put the pressure on to make this fight happen. Sergio, should there be pressure on Ryan Garcia to face Devin Haney?
No, there shouldn't be pressure. You know who should be under pressure? AJ versus Fury, Crawford versus Spence, maybe even Canelo Triple G in the trilogy. Those guys need to be setting the example for these younger fighters, but instead it's the younger fighters setting the example for the older champions. And just because it's not happening next doesn't mean this dream match needs to happen in a flash. It will happen, but maybe one more fight needs to be in between. They're doing the right things. They're not going backwards in competition. Both Garcia and Haney are facing better and better competitions to former world champions, and they're passing the test. These young guys are showing the older guys how it needs to be done, and I love it. I love where boxing's at right now.
Let me just say a couple things to our good friend Eddie Hearn. Number one, if Eddie Hearn was promoting Ryan Garcia and not Devin Haney, he would not be advising Ryan Garcia to face Devin Haney right now. He just wouldn't. Ryan Garcia is the young cash cow in boxing. And right now, a Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight doesn't have the kind of demand where you push for it, at least not this early. Number two, crowd does matter. Crowd size for a fight like this does matter. Before the pandemic hit, Ryan Garcia was able to put 10,000 plus fans in Anaheim on a Friday night. That is really difficult. So if you can get Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney built up a little bit more, you can get a 10, 12, 15,000 person crowd in Southern California to support that kind of fight, and that is real revenue. Frankly, the pressure, Sergio, is all on Devin Haney in this upcoming fight. He is facing Jorge Linares on May 29th. Linares is a good fighter, but every time he loses, he gets knocked out. If Devin Haney makes Jorge Linares the sixth knockout victim of his career, Jorge Linares' sixth knockout of his career, there will be momentum for Haney to face Ryan Garcia at some point later in the fall. If, against Linares, there is the same kind of Yuriorkis Gamboa type performance where Haney dominates but doesn't go for a knockout and doesn't finish him, there simply won't be momentum for Garcia versus Haney. So there's pressure for a fight like this, but in my mind, that pressure sits squarely on Devin Haney.
And I think Haney felt a little bit of that pressure. I mean, there's a little bit of I guess, resentment. You know, Ryan Garcia not picking up a strap, not being a champion, but being on the cover of Ring magazine. Ryan Garcia getting all this, attention on social media, getting 10,000 people to show up on Valentine's Day on a Friday. I mean, this is what Ryan Garcia brings to the table. And, forget about the modeling and everything else. Devin Haney just needs to do what he does in the ring. And if he can do what he did with Antonio Moran, with a fighter like Linares, who, like you said, gets stopped every time he faces the top competition, I mean, that's what he needs. That's what will get people talking about this fight. It doesn't have to be the next fight, but if it can be momentum going forward, where both these guys are fighting the best and getting the knockouts, making it exciting, and then they can collide. They can meet where they both have the same amount of pressure and momentum going their way.
Yeah, look, I don't think this fight needs to marinate any longer. You've got two guys that are inside the top 5 in the lightweight division. Doesn't matter how old they are among the best in the 135-pound weight class. It just needs some momentum. So a knockout by Devin Haney against Jorge Linares and a knockout of Javier Fortuna by Ryan Garcia, that, in my mind, will give this fight the kind of momentum it needs to be made in the fall.
Yeah, it's a dream match, but it doesn't need to happen in a flash.
Thanks for watching this video. Please do subscribe All Media New York.